Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine it's the first day of the month. Your phone lights up, salary received. For a few seconds, you feel powerful. You feel safe. You feel like this time, you'll manage everything better. And yet, somewhere between groceries, bills, online orders, and small just this once expenses, the money slowly disappears. If this feels familiar, you're not alone. Millions of middle-class people around the world are not failing because they earn too little. They struggle because no one ever taught them a clear system for their money. Today, I want to share a rule, not a complicated investment strategy, not a get-rich-quick trick, just one simple structure that can quietly transform how you live every day. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. But before we talk about numbers, let's talk about reality. Most people don't track money emotionally. They track it only when stress arrives. You don't notice small spending when you're relaxed, but when your balance drops, suddenly every purchase feels heavy. That's not a money problem, that's a structure problem. The 50-30-20 rule divides your income into three parts: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings and future growth. Sounds simple, right? But the power of this rule is not the math, it's the mindset behind it. Let's start with the first part, 50%, needs. Needs are the things that keep your life stable. Rent, electricity, water, basic groceries, transportation to work. But here's where most people get confused. Needs slowly expand. You buy a slightly more expensive phone because everyone around you has it. You upgrade your lifestyle one step at a time. You tell yourself, I deserve this. And slowly, what used to be a want becomes a need in your mind. Imagine Ahmed. He earns a normal salary. At first, his expenses are simple, but after a promotion, he upgrades his car payment, adds multiple subscriptions, starts ordering food more often. Nothing feels extreme, but combined, his needs jump from 50% to 75%. Now even a small emergency feels like a crisis. This is how stress begins, quietly. Now let's move to the second part, 30% wants. And here's something important. The 50-30-20 rule doesn't tell you to stop enjoying life. In fact, it protects your happiness. Because when you plan your wants, you enjoy them without guilt. Imagine Sarah. She loves coffee shops and small weekend outings. Before using any system, she spends randomly. Some months she overspends and feels guilty. But once she defines 30% for wants, something changes. She still goes out. She still enjoys life. But now she knows her limit. And when she spends within that space, she feels calm instead of anxious. That's the psychological power of boundaries. Now we reach the third part, the part most people avoid, 20%, savings and investments. This isn't just money sitting in a bank. This is your future breathing space, emergency funds, long-term goals, small investments, learning new skills that increase income. Most middle-class people make one common mistake. Yet they say, I'll save whatever is left at the end of the month. But let's be honest, is anything ever left? Life always finds a reason to spend more. That's why financially stable people reverse the order. They save first, then they spend. Not because they have more money, but because they have more clarity. Think about two neighbors. Both earn the same income. Both face the same bills. One lives constantly worried about unexpected expenses. The other slowly builds a safety cushion. 5 years later, their lives look completely different. Not because of luck, but because of structure. Now you might be thinking, what if my expenses are already too high? That's a real concern. The 50-30-20 rule is not a rigid law, it's a starting point. If your needs are 60% right now, start there. If you can only save 5%, start there. Progress matters more than perfection. Let's look at a daily example. Imagine your income arrives today. Before opening any shopping apps, you divide it. 50% goes into an account dedicated to bills and essentials. 30% stays available for lifestyle and enjoyment. 20% moves instantly into savings. You don't wait. You don't negotiate with yourself. And suddenly, decision fatigue disappears. You no longer ask, can I afford this? You already know. That mental clarity reduces stress more than any motivational speech. Another example. Think about food delivery. Many people don't realize how small daily habits quietly change their financial future. Ordering food 3 times a week may feel harmless, but over a year, that amount could become a full emergency fund. The goal isn't to eliminate joy. The goal is to become aware, because awareness creates choice, and choice creates freedom. Now let's talk about social pressure. We live in a world where everyone looks successful online. New phones, travel photos, luxury lifestyles. But most of what you see is a highlight reel, not reality. The 50-30-20 rule protects you from comparison, because your spending decisions are based on your system, not someone else's image. Over time, something powerful happens. You stop reacting emotionally to money. You start acting intentionally, and that shift changes everything. You feel less panic when bills arrive. You feel less guilt when you enjoy life. You feel more control when planning your future. This is why the rule works. Not because it's perfect, but because it's simple enough to follow consistently. Financial freedom is rarely built through big dramatic changes. It's built through small, repeatable decisions. Every month you follow structure, you reduce chaos. Every time you save before spending, you increase stability. And slowly, without even noticing, your relationship with money becomes calmer. So the next time your salary arrives, pause for a moment. Don't rush into spending. Don't chase temporary comfort. Instead, ask yourself, what percentage of this money is building the life I actually want? Because at the end of the day, money is not just numbers on a screen, it's time. It's choices. It's the ability to breathe without constant financial pressure. And sometimes, one simple rule, applied consistently, can turn survival into stability, and stability into freedom.